everyone, I'm Ayşe Gülistan, and this is Invest in Türkiye Talks. So what are we going to do throughout these series? We'll be talking everything related to investment, from FDI inflows to entrepreneurship, the investment infrastructure in Türkiye, and trends and challenges that sectors may face in the near future. In this series, we talk about Türkiye's investment landscape with leading figures in the field. Today, I'm joined by Cenk Bayrakdar. Cenk, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Cenk is the founding partner and managing director of Revo Capital and has held several C-level positions at Turkcell. Cenk, before we talk about Revo Capital, I want to ask you about Turkcell. You spent such a long time working for the company, which is one of Turkey's biggest in the field, and after leaving, you established Revo Capital. How did that shift come from corporate to venture capital?
First of all, thank you for having me. I would like to talk about especially that transition because I think it's one of the in my career, the things that have really prepared me to a VC over the years. I was with Turkcell for over 13 years, and I was the chief information officer. I was responsible for the infrastructure of Turkcell, having probably like 600 million transactions per day. Then I was in charge of products and services. And during that position, I was very fortunate to lead the teams that have provided like Turkcell's all the services, including TV Plus, payment services, Turkcell branded phones over the years, like T10, T11, T20, which were like Android phones that we have taken the initiative to provide a lot cheaper and affordable phones in order to create the masses' interest into internet. So as in the past, me and my team had a lot of product experience that kind of prepared us for the next level. And while I was in Turkcell, I was responsible for just bringing up new services every 6 months. And these services had only like 6 months to be successful. Successful meaning like it had to be EBITDA positive and over 1 million subscribers and such. So that's a very hard job. And we have thought about making the capabilities of Turkcell into a platform so that we had new startups on this platform, and we would do revenue sharing with them. So that was a very important initiative, and we called them carried services. However, at that time, we hadn't thought about investing into them. So as years passed, I thought, let's build a corporate venture capital because whomever we provide our platform, we're becoming very successful. And the company's value appreciated over time drastically. So that's why we thought, let's invest into them. So that's how the idea of corporate venture capital came in. However, at that time, like among the shareholders of Turkcell, there was a lot of discussions. This was never a priority. So we could never establish that corporate venture capital. However, at that time, because this idea came in, like I was really very passionate about it. And over the years, it took me 2 years to also pitch this idea to some of the high net worth individuals. And I'm a graduate of Robert College, and some of our classmates, I have pitched this idea. And at one point, they have given me $15 million commitment. And the next day,
That's quite lucky, isn't it?
the next day, I resigned, and it took me like 3 months to leave Turkcell, and I started structuring Revo Capital in 2013.
And currently, Revo Capital is the largest VC in the country and is also the largest fintech investor in Türkiye. Now, you obviously mentioned how your previous experiences at Turkcell taught you, in actual fact, the ecosystem and how things work. Can you tell us the story behind Revo Capital? You did briefly mention it, but what are you currently doing and what is the mission behind the VC?
What makes Revo quite unique, very different than all the other VCs in the market, I believe, is that we are product people. So we are not like finance people like all the other VCs. We are product people. We have a lot of experience about products. So we know And we had experience with a lot of products that were very successful, reached millions. And we also had some bad luck with some of the products where it wasn't so successful. So those both bring a lot of experience to the table. And as Revo, Revo means, by the way, dream. So we are the capital that helps you actualize your dreams. And in order to do that, we are your greatest support. So besides money, there's a lot that we bring to the table. For example, unlike any other VC, we have 5 people at Revo, we call the growth team, where we have a full-time headhunter in Revo. So that means like all the C-levels of our product portfolio companies, we help them do a shortlist. So just in the last 18 months, we have helped recruit 16 people in our portfolio, C-levels. And that's very valuable because that's a help that you can bring to the attention of the founder, because founder may not have all the necessary time to just shorten his list of candidates. And, like people are number one expense item in the OPEX budget, and you need to get the right people.
Just to ask you, how many companies do you currently have in your portfolio?
We have 40 companies. We have in the last 10 years, looked at 5,400 companies and invested into 40 of them. And just going on with the Revo growth team, like the second largest expense would be the digital marketing. And we have a full-time digital marketing expert on board. So we help them with their go-to-market strategies to help, test their soundboard go-to-market and marketing efforts with us. So that's another help. And the third thing, I think that makes Revo quite unique is that we have the full knowledge of going global inside. So if you go and tell your startup founder, for example, you need to go to US, open up in US, you will lock him up for 6 months. He won't be able to do anything else. It's a very hard process. But what we do is we show them who to work with, which partner to work with, which lawyer to work with, how to transfer the IPs over there, how to do this whole transition with the partners and all. And we also tell him how much it's going to cost him. So this again takes like 6 months, but it doesn't take his 6 months. So it's a lot easier process for them. And as soon as we invest into that company, we also provide a lot of technology tools and like some of the technology itself, either for free or like for great discounts.
So the reason why I asked about how many companies you have in your portfolio is because from what I understand, it's not only about money. You don't only just give the startup the money for them to just do whatever they want. It's not just one round of funding, but you actually invest in them personally, if you were to say, as an entity, as Revo. So we know Revo to be highly investing in fintech, health tech and SaaS. However, recently you've added energy and the gaming sector to these portfolio companies. What was the cause of this strategic decision?
You're quite right. We've added energy and gaming into our verticals. As you have mentioned, we are the largest fintech investor in Turkey, and we love doing that. We had some great fintechs, and also we will continue doing that. Secondly, we've been from day one investing into cloud. And I think for SME dominant economies, cloud is one of the most important verticals. And as everyone gets onto the cloud, cybersecurity becomes very, very crucial. And we have good companies in Turkey about cybersecurity. So that's our third vertical. And also health IT, in the past 5 or 8 years ago, health and IT were totally independent verticals. And they didn't have much to do with each other. Even the type of people who worked in these verticals were different. But lately, because health is producing lots of data and IT is making use of this data through AI and has shortened those cycles, I think health IT just emerged in the last 5 to 8 years, and we love that area. And also in Turkey, we have good companies about that, especially in Ankara, especially for drug discoveries, diagnosis studies, and such. So these are the verticals we knew and have been investing in. Energy is like, there's so much investments around energy in Turkey, in Eastern Europe, and globally. And like in 2050, everybody wants to go to like global footprint to be carbon global footprint to be zero. And that requires like, as far as I remember, like $640 billion to be invested. So huge numbers. Also in Turkey, lots of investments going on. And we thought we cannot be outside that. So that much money would bring lots of opportunities for startups, because large conglomerates will need those startups to expedite this process. So that's why a lot of investments is going to be done. And we thought we could help this process and also the buildup of those startups. However, we will just be investing into the software side of it. So nothing on the hardware. As for gaming, Turkey has proven itself to be one of the top gaming countries around the world. And in Europe, second after UK, actually. So there's so much going on after this whole peak success. Like, I believe like 68 companies were just found with the peak experience personnel afterwards, all those founders. And the success goes on, and Dream and all those coming, very good news coming one after another. So we thought we shouldn't be just watching it. We should be a part of it. We will be investing into gaming from our seed pocket. And that seed pocket, maybe I'll tell a little bit more about.
Yeah, sure.
We will invest mainly into the founders and the pedigree of the founders, and also the ideas in that seed pocket. So I think gaming we will do at least one or two investments in gaming at seed stage.
You spoke about the different verticals, especially, for example, AI, energy, and the different investments that are growing in these sectors, but also green investment. And this is now a major issue for not only Türkiye, but the world, like you said. And it is one of our cornerstones in the foreign direct investment strategy until 2028 that's going to be applied by the country nationally. So how do you evaluate Türkiye's performance in these uprising verticals? Because there's a global race to achieve the most investment in these areas. And like you said, while AI is now still very important, we're very prone to AI now. We know what AI is, it's growing, but it's becoming very specific. But green investment is a whole new area. What would you have to say about Türkiye's performance globally in this sense?
I believe overall global performance is going slower than the targets. However, when we look at Türkiye, as far as I remember, already has like 8% of electrical vehicles in all the new cars. And that's where US is after so many years. So I think Türkiye is catching up quite fast.
Okay, now let's turn to the funding raised by Revo. What was the investing strategy of the Revo One Fund, and how did it evolve through Revo 2?
There's lots of lessons learned in Revo One. I used to be in charge of Turkcell strategies for all the products and services. So basically, what we were doing at Revo was doing very similar strategies like in Turkcell, however, doing it with our investors' money rather than Turkcell's money. So that was a continuation of that strategy. So we invested a lot in fintech. We invested a lot in cloud strategies. However, what happened was, we have seen that companies that we were the single investor didn't really turn out to be that successful. Or companies that we haven't taken out abroad hasn't been very successful in attracting new investments. So that kind of shaped our Fund 2 strategy. And we also learned that it's very crucial for the founder to move abroad in the transition to go abroad. So lessons learned was a foreign VC doesn't necessarily invest in a Turkish company. And if you don't have foreign VCs, the valuations are not at the levels that you like to do the exits. So Fund 2, we changed our whole perception. We have made it into our main strategy that as soon as we invest into a company, we take the company to a technopark in Türkiye and get the best of all the incentives that the government is providing them. Because I think Turkey is probably number one in the world for all those incentives put together. I don't think there's no other country like that.
Can you tell us a bit about the incentives that are provided?
If you are at a technopark, then the government also relieves you of VAT. You almost pay like the gross salaries as net salaries. So there's no income taxes for the people who work there. And also the company doesn't pay any corporate income for all those products that are built at the technopark. So these are great things. It doesn't charge VAT to its customers. So it's like a cheaper product for the banks and such. So these are all very important stuff. And once we make sure that the R&D facility is at the technopark, what we do is we build a US company mainly, and that US company is in charge of marketing and sales. And we move the founder to US mainly. And with the founder moving to US and marketing sales being there, then also a good portion of the sales start coming in globally. So US VC finds that company attractive to invest. So this transition is very important. And we also need to transfer the IP there. So these are kind of the prerequisites a US VC kind of has before investing into that company. But we always grow the R&D in Turkey. So making use of each party's best sides, that's what we are trying to do. When you look at Fund 2, out of 19 companies, 16 of them have HQs outside Turkey, but they all have their R&Ds in Turkey. And that's growing over time. And that's growing healthy because the income of the companies, especially out of 19, 11 of them are 100% global now.
Cenk, thank you for that. And obviously you mentioned how the lessons learned in Revo 1 changed your approach in Revo 2. And now what will be the key features of Revo 3? Is there anything new that we can expect?
Sure. Besides the addition of two new verticals, like we talked about energy and gaming, we also have a different investment strategy, meaning that Revo is a Series A or pre-Series A investor so far in Fund 2. However, in Fund 3, we will be investing in Series A, B, and maybe partially C. And that's complete vacuum in Turkey. There's no one who's going to take the startup from A to C unless the startup can find outside investment. That is not nice. And we need to do that hand-holding in order for our country to have brands globally. So Revo 3 will be a little bigger than what it used to be, targeting 100 million with a $100 million cap. The second thing that's different is that we will have a 5% of the fund as a seed pocket. For the seed stage, we will have a different process. We will be acting a lot quicker because you need to be a lot more agile for seed investments. And the reason that we do seed basically is in Turkey, when there's a good company and it grows really fast, a US or UK VC comes over and takes the whole investment round. So there's no place left for us. There have been a couple of cases where we would, identify a company. And identify because we have built such a system that, for example, if you just start a startup and you start hiring people, recruiting people, then we know about it. Even though we don't know you, we know that you are hiring more than usual. Or you do a startup, you just do lots of marketing and your website traffic goes up, we know about it. So with all those interactions and integrations that we have, we identify you, and then we start, just building up a relationship with you for your next round of investment. However, sometimes if you go really fast, then, like I said, a US or UK VC comes and just takes the whole round. So we are just left empty-handed. So that's not something we want in Revo 3. That's why we have the seed pocket. So in order to get super pro rata rights or pro rata rights, so that the next round of funding is also done with our control as well. So that's the whole reason. And we will be investing much smaller tickets offers, 250K to 500K, a lot faster. Maybe our hit rate will not be as high as Revo 1 or 2 because a good portion of them will go bankrupt. However, out of 15 investments there, we want to, do at least follow on to them.
And Cenk, obviously every fund you raise is bigger than the previous one. And this obviously is a reflection of the correlation and the increasing demand and growing number of startups. We spoke about how you pinpoint these startups that you want to invest in, but not necessarily how they exit. Can you tell us a bit about this procedure?
Yeah, I think that's the most crucial part, because unless you do an exit, then it's very hard to give the investors their money back. And the next time you go for a raise, you wouldn't have anything to say to them if you haven't exited. So in Revo, we have done, in the first fund, 15 exits. And in Fund 2, even though it's only the fourth year, we have already done 2 exits. And I think that giving money back to investors is very, very important. The thing that we do, especially, we have found the importance of, is that we have a very detailed CRM in our systems. So this is second CRM we have. The first one was about the deals, which is integrated to many places. The second CRM is with VC to VC relationships. For all the local, regional, UK and US VCs that we do business with, we have at least 3 to 6 month calls according to their, activities. And we always tell them about our portfolio and just watch out for their interest in certain specific companies. So the next time that company raises money, for example, we give the founder, okay, these 16 VCs have showed interest in you, and now we are going to intro them with you. Those introductions are golden. Those are very, very important. And I think Revo has been quite successful in making all the exits except 1 or 2, I think, without investment bankers, depending on those VC to VC relationships, that CRM that we have. So over time, I think the number of international investors that we set at the boards of different portfolio companies are growing. For example, very recently, Shell Ventures, Porsche Ventures invested into one of our portfolio companies, Bumper. And they did a quite big round. Itochu also joined that round. Also, very recently, maybe you heard about it, Midas has done a round, and Portage, a Canadian VC, has showed interest and entered the round, led the round actually, together with IFC. Also Spark Capital is in Midas. So more and more, lots of global prestigious VCs, we tend to have relationship and also sit at the boards together. So I think that's very valuable for that VC to VC CRM that we are running. And we are very much keen on that.
And this obviously increases the trust against Revo as well, right?
Exactly.
The more global VCs that you can attract to your portfolio companies just shows how well you do in managing the portfolio companies that you still hold.
I believe so. For example, large DFIs like IFC, DEG, we do business with, and we also do co-investments with. For example, since our first fund, IFC was just like EBRD was our investor. And in the first fund, they were only $8 million. The second fund, 15 million euros. now in the third fund just increasing their stake to 20 million. And they also in the second fund asked for us to structure and run for them a co-investment vehicle. So another 15 million euros there. And now in the third fund, they are going to put another 20 million in that co-investment vehicle because they are happy with the co-investments, the offers that we provide them. Like in the second fund, they did, like as we just talked about, like Midas, ICAS, Massive Bio, and CY Vision investments, co-investments with us. And they're happy with how the companies are progressing over time. So that also brings up the trust.
Now, my final question for you, Cenk, is obviously you've been in this sector with Turkcell and with Revo, so over 20 years, I'm going to say. How do you see the future of VC in Turkey?
VC has shown a great growth because in the first years, like in 2013, 14, like if there was like investments of like almost $20 million, it was a great year for us. So now Turkey has changed drastically because we were just a bunch of VCs doing business together. Now there are like 43 like more European setup VCs and almost like 344 like Turkish GSYF, GSYF kind of VCs. So like many VCs and many dry powder in the market. I think this also helps like at least another 1,000 startups coming to the arena each year. More and more Turkey is acknowledged not only for a great holiday destination or Turkish delight, but also for technology. I think that's very crucial. So like I think we are trying to make a name for ourselves and try to be a technology hub here. That's all what we are trying to do with Revo Building Bridges as well. For example, we have done the fourth of it this year. And with Building Bridges, we are trying to bring together investors to Turkey because I think whomever comes to Turkey is positively surprised. So that's why like this year we did like, probably we had like 650 investors attending and from 9 different countries. So, and this, the whole ecosystem, I think, contributed to that event. I think that was very important. So more and more, it will be normal and also a must to invest into Turkey for all the emerging market investors. So I think I see the coming years very bright. And lately, especially the DFIs are really supporting us much stronger than in the years before. And I see a very positive attitude in the co-investment desire and also the appetite that they have for Turkey.
Brilliant. Thank you for that, Cenk. And thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. I think this is very valuable. I really enjoyed being here.
Thank you. With these experiences, we talk about the state of venture capital in Türkiye, how Revo Capital started introducing energy and gaming into their investment portfolio, and Cenk tells us what the key features of the Revo Free Fund will be. You can find our podcast on all streaming platforms, and for more updates and information, follow Invest in Türkiye on social media. Stay tuned for more episodes where we'll be talking more about investment in Türkiye.